So blogging I'm going to talk about as one of my, if you like, sort of top three for today. I'm sure people know what a blog is. We're at quite a basic level today, but just to kind of give an overview, it's a chronological publication of regular posts to a website that can include things like commentaries, thoughts, opinions and experiences. 63% of the UK population are reading blogs. 26% are either writing about blogs, or writing about blogs. They're writing on blogs about brands, about products, about services. Out of interest, how many companies, how many of you are actively blogging at the moment, or have a blog, or kind of pretty much, yeah, about 75%. So 36% are thinking more positively about companies that have a blog. That's really key, that actually audiences out there these days are expecting people to have a blog and are actually thinking more positively about those that do, because they're seeing that they're adding value to the conversations that are happening online. And just over 30% said that they trust bloggers' opinions on products and services. The way in which the internet has evolved has meant that, you know, if I go out there as a business and try and push my product, people are perhaps a little bit more unlikely to trust me as opposed to people who are independent of my business, who have used my products or services, and they're actually out there saying how good or in some cases how bad that particular company is. So there's a lot of trust in kind of independent views about products and services. So just to talk about some of the benefits of blogging to your business, you can use it to develop expert or authority status with your industry or sector. Particularly relevant for kind of B2B. You know, if you've come up with particular theories or you've written a book, or you know this type of thing, where you are where you have a particular approach to business that maybe is different to others, and you want to be able to push that, and you want to be able to share that with other people. Blogs are a great way of being able to regularly post your thoughts, updates, and so on, to develop that expert authority status. And what that actually does is encourage people to come to you, listen regularly to what you have to say. It encourages people to link to your website, which, if you know anything about how search engines work, is quite key. It allows you to connect in a two-way dialogue with customers and industry experts. So blogs will allow people to be able to submit comments around a particular story or article. It allows you to then engage with those people directly online. It allows you to expand reach within your network or industry, particularly when guest blogging elsewhere. If you create relationships with other businesses, they might ask you to actually blog, guest blog on their blog. So again, you're kind of extending your reach outwards. You can reach users through RSS, which I mentioned earlier, and also mobile technology. Through things like the iPhone, you know, it's like a walking computer in your pocket, and I've got so much information coming in from different sources, but it means I can connect with businesses in a new way, and blogging is one of the ways in which you can do that. Good way of differentiating yourself from your competitors. I think these days, if you've just got a website up and it's just you, about you and your product or service, that's not enough anymore. You have to be looking to differentiate yourself. You have to be looking to add more value and be seen as being different, unique. One of the ways you can do that, again, is through blogging and through different forms of content on your website. It helps to humanise your business. So by this I mean giving your business a face, giving it a human side that perhaps in days gone by didn't exist. And as I mentioned, good for search engine marketing, optimisation. It's a great way of continually using and submitting fresh content onto your website, and that will attract people to want to link to you, because if you're a great resource, no longer do you have to go out chasing links and the more traditional means of kind of sending out these horrible automated emails which just have never worked. Actually, people want to link to you. They see you as a resource, and they want to actually recommend you to their website visitors. And the beauty of it, again, is these things are all free. You can go and sign up to a Blogger account, WordPress, for absolutely nothing, and start blogging as quickly as you like. Twitter. How many people are twittering out of interest? Again, good. Good sort of 60-70% of people here. Twitter, again, is a free social networking and micro-blogging service. I have to say, I've only been using this a while, because I used to change the I for an A and call it something quite different, because I just didn't really get it. I thought it was people sitting there writing, I'm drinking a cup of tea, I've just gone to the toilet. Things that people really didn't care about, but I've actually completely changed my tune in the last couple of months and found it a really, really useful tool for various different things. What it allows you to do is send and read each other's updates, and you have 140 characters to be able to do that in. A lot of people now are actually speaking 140 characters, and it's all got a bit crazy. But so each tweet is a text-based post of up to 140 characters, as I said. You can get them on your mobile through various different platforms and so on. But it's all about what you're doing, and not you know, I've just made myself a cup of tea. For me, it's about sharing information and receiving information back. I follow, for example, some of the big people within the search and digital marketing industries who are first on the ball. There's people from Google, for example, that are twittering, and some of the big celebrities within the search world. And they're kind of first on the ball with this information, so it's a great source of kind of information, and I then will read certain things that I don't think other people may have seen and kind of give something back, and it's very important that you're doing that. Some of the famous Twitterers include Stephen Fry. I'm following him, he's quite interesting, he does it a hell of a lot. He's a real advocate for new technology. Barack Obama, probably the first, really the first sort of mainstream politician to use social media in its many forms, and in particular, although all of a sudden now he's won the election, he's not using any of this stuff anymore. But he was very big on Twitter. Whether it's actually him or not, not quite sure. But he's used various different social tools to kind of engage his audience in new ways. And many of the world's leading brands are up there as well. To give you an idea, I mean, this is kind of roughly what it looks like online. You have your profile, and these are your Twitters or tweets. That's the right word? Tweets. Sorry. Kind of up and down here, you've got various different people that you're following, and various different people that will be following you. In terms of sort of benefits to your business, if you're not using this already, as I mentioned, it's a great place to learn. Tips, advice, resources, they're all shared across this particular network. But as I said, you need to try and give something back. So try and offer advice. If you found something particularly interesting that you think people will also find interesting, then you should share that and use it as a means of doing so. Again, rather like blogging, it's a good means of developing authority, becoming a thought leader within your industry. A good way of listening to your audience. A lot of brands now are using this as actually a direct feedback mechanism. So, you know, an example, maybe Dell, for example, are using this so that when I receive my computer and they package it up with half a rainforest, it's a good way for me to be able to directly go back to them and say, do you know what? Your packaging sucks. And as a result of things like that, companies are able to respond to it and actually make changes to the way in which they do business. So it's quite powerful in terms of listening to what your audience have to say about you. Improved communication, we actually use it internally at Leapfrogg to kind of Twitter one another, and also the Brighton community. I know some of the guys down here are on there, and it's a good way of kind of sharing information, organising events and so on. So in that sense, it develops and strengthens relationships. You can create different communities, interest groups, again around Brighton for example, within the digital marketing industry there are different groups and we can kind of interact and share information. Again, this kind of element of kind of humanising the business, and as a result of all of this, it's a means ultimately of trying to drive traffic back to your website, raise awareness and build your brand. Briefly, sort of touch on social networks. Social networks represent a collection of ties between people who interact and influence one another. I imagine most of us are on Facebook or MySpace or something similar. But I think the one which is most relevant to everybody in this room is probably going to be LinkedIn. I would recommend if you're not on there, try and get on there straight away. It essentially allows you to network in an online environment in much the same way as we've been doing for many years offline, as we are at the moment. But it does it in a slightly different way. What it allows you to do is demonstrate your knowledge and experience, again, provide updates about what you're doing, where you're working, and so on. Develop authority by getting involved in the question and answers section. This is something I found a few months ago, and trying to get more involved in actually, again, developing that authority status by looking within the particular sections and answering questions which people are unsure of the answers to. So there's a specific search marketing section, for example, which I can go in and have a look and see if I can help anybody out. It's a way of promoting your business, of course, and marketing your jobs as well, and perhaps finding a new one. I hope nobody's having to do that at the moment, but you are able to post jobs up there, so it's a means of finding new work as well. And generate leads by the way in which it works. I can contact somebody within my network and try and be put in touch with somebody who perhaps I don't know.